Hello, everyone, and welcome to GateWorld. It is our very our very first time on December 19th streaming, which is the last show of the year. That's what I meant to say. It's our last live stream of the year. And who better to have with us here for a Friday Stargate hangout, excuse me, I'm jet lagged, than my very good friend who I just spent the last week with. David Reed is here. Welcome in, sir.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Guys, we're rolling with a new microphone here. David is obviously not at his home base command center. Let us know in the chat if you can hear us okay, if the levels sound all right. I can continue to tweak things. David, where the heck are you at?
I'm in Alondra Park, just down the road from LAX. I just dropped off my godson at the airport. He's going to go do a snare drum audition. And this was just down the road, so I went and had in and out for like the second time since I've been here. And yeah, so I just wanted to hang with you for a little while. So we managed to. I wasn't sure if we were gonna figure this out in terms of time, but it's kind of perfect. So
As I mess with my audio settings here, guys, I got a new mic and I am still learning how to use it. Adam's been bugging me for a while. How's that? Adam's been bugging me for a while to move from my old Blue Yeti to a nice Shure mic. And I didn't get the most expensive one, but I did get a Shure mic. So hopefully that's going to level up the game on GateWorld here.
sound good, man.
Good.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, Raj says you both sound good. I just dialed up mine.
I apologize in advance for the honking. I've been fighting these damn things.
The automobiles?
The Canada geese. So
The geese
there's several
honking.
of
Well,
them.
it's beautiful. It's worth the trade-off. So we
Yeah.
just spent the last
There we go,
4
that works.
days together in
Yes.
beautiful and extremely rainy Vancouver, British Columbia. You are clearly on something close to a tropical vacation now in California.
For a little bit here, yeah. No, it's really great down here. I mean, the lowest this week here is like 60 degrees. So this was the second leg, and it's almost polar opposite. Of course, I mean everyone's kind of getting a heat wave right now. I mean it's going to be 60 in Nashville on Christmas Day, 55. So it's kind of bizarre, but yeah, no, we had a great time in Vancouver. There was so much footage that we got, about 1.5 terabytes, which translates to,
Wow.
I think we got like 40 hours of footage, maybe 45 on 4 different cameras. We shot more than, we probably got about at least 15 hours of new content over 3, 4, 5 cameras.
Yeah, we ran
and
4
it was-
cameras.
In some cases. Yeah. So it makes the stuff that we were doing on GateWorld 24, 23 years ago look like it was standing still. And it's just, it feels good to really have progressed technologically in terms of the kind of things that we create, past the more amateur point and more towards, but not quite at the professional end of things.
Exactly.
But we're really figuring it out as we go.
Yeah, we're figuring out the amateur game. It was a couple of kids with a handy cam and
Yeah.
some digital tapes back in the day. And
Yep.
now it's nice, especially with help from our friend Remington Phillips at SG1 Props, to have some better gear to run. Okay, guys, the main topic for the show today is going to be Dial the Gate Season 5. I am extremely excited to talk about the 5th season of this show that David and his team have just wrapped up, possibly with an asterisk, but they've just wrapped up Season 5 of Dial the Gate. We're going to talk about
one
that.
more coming.
We'll
after
talk about
Christmas.
the Oral History Project, but to start us off, first, let's. How much do you want to share about what's coming up on Dial the Gate that we just shot
all
in
of it.
Vancouver?
Yeah.
We're not going to hold anything back?
No, there's no
Okay,
reason
so I
to.
had a blast. We had
Yeah.
many trips back in the day to Vancouver, to Bridge Studios and to GateCon, and to Creations Vancouver events back in the day when the shows were in production. And those were, right, you were working for GateWorld at the time, so those were GateWorld trips. We were getting interviews and convention coverage and all that other stuff for GateWorld. This was really fun for me because this was your brainchild. You wanted to go up and capture these specific things for Dial the Gate. So my son Josh and I came along as sort of Dial the Gate workers slash cameramen slash producers to help you out with the plans that you wanted to execute. We did get some GateWorld content along the way. We have a couple of interviews that
Well,
we're gonna have on GateWorld in the new year.
Yeah, it's gonna be shared on some level with GateWorld, So it was perfect to have you guys along for the ride, and he was great. He picked things up very quickly. It was kind of surreal to have him there, knowing that he was just born when we really started doing this, and now he's doing it. And I don't think it could. I don't think it would have worked out better.
So who did we talk to, and what did we do last week or this week that you're excited about?
Well, we first started off with Tom Macbeth, Harry Mayborn, and Garwin Sanford, who played Nareem and Simon, and Jacqueline Samuda, who played Nirti. They did. We did a series of roundtables throughout the week. I've never been, ironically, thrilled with being front-facing on camera. It's never really what I wanted. I've always wanted to produce and direct and edit, but direct special features. Create in the industry they call it VAM, value added material.
Yeah.
To content, and that's really what I got to do this week, and I loved it. It was fantastic. So we put Tom, Jacqueline, and Garwin on film, and they sat for 3 hours, and Jacqueline knew both of them, and Garwin and Tom knew each other, but Tom didn't really know Jacqueline all that well, so he spent the last 3 weeks getting to know her through her work. And so when he had the chance to sit down and talk with her, they were ready to rock and roll. And they had probably a 2 hour and 15 minutes conversation with one another about their Stargate experience and about their careers and about the transforming industry and everything that's coming down the pike and how things are changing with Zoom auditions. And it was perfect. And then we felt, you know what, I will hold something back. There's going to be something coming out either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day that is basically a preview of season 6, but it was shot for season 5 to kind of button up the end of the year. It's something I suggested to Tom a while ago, and they just went and ran with it. So the 3 of them will be involved in that one. Do you want to comment on that group, or do you want me to go to the next one?
I had a lot of fun with that group. This was our first thing on Monday, and I had talked with Jacqueline before. You reminded me after the fact that I met Garwin years ago. Garwin Sanford played Nareem, and we had interviewed him at his talent agency 20 years ago, or maybe not quite. And so it was lovely to see him. I had met Tom through you, Tom Macbeth, Harry Mayborn. I had met him through you, through my last couple of trips to GateCon, I think. I think he was around. I don't know if he was a guest, maybe in 2018. But this was my first chance to sit down and interview him and talk about his journey as an actor, talk about the state of things in Canada and Vancouver, how he's feeling about it, and of course, Mayborn's journey, which was incredible from season 1 to his last appearance in season 8.
It was a great arc. Yeah, he got to do a lot. These folks aren't getting younger. Tom's 80 now, and his memory's fantastic. The fact that he can still memorize and get out there and act for 2.5 hours is great. And it's becoming more and more clear to us as these people age that I wanted to get more of them on camera. I mean, we lost Carrie. I can't pronounce his last name to save my life. who played Turgon in SG-1's Emancipation a few weeks ago, and we never got to sit down with him, but God knows I tried. So, and we lost Tony Todd, who played Haikon a little while before. And Tom is my friend. I can count on one hand the number of actors that I consider myself friends with, and he is one of them. And I really wanted to capture more of him on camera because he's a storyteller. I get him on the phone, and he'll just take off in a direction for an hour, and I'm sitting there going, I wish I could record this. As a video editor, it's like this is stuff that I know there are fans who would be really interested in hearing. Not everybody, but some. And that's really what this week was all about for the most part, is capturing stories that are tangential to Stargate, but things that are important to the talent that they wanted to and were willing to share. And that's largely what that one was. So this whole week has been an experiment in trying to figure out what kind of content we wanted to capture, and something to get me out of the camera and put them fully in front, working with one another. And it got really emotional quite a bit. They were willing, all the different pods that we had together, to open up their souls and share pieces of themselves that really wouldn't have come out in any other kind of configuration. And it was a success.
Yeah, it was extra challenging for the actors to be asked to talk to one another in a roundtable format without one of us sitting there and peppering them with questions. So a big thanks to Jacqueline led that first pod, right?
We did.
And then Simone Bailey led another one of our groups. Gary Jones.
Yes. So I want to work it through it in order. I can keep everything. I can make sure we hit everything.
Okay, so we did 2 a day. Second thing on Monday was
Richard Hugh Dolan. So I reached out to Richard, and I wanted to do one with him. I wanted to do at least 3 while we were up here, and we managed to get 4, which I was just blown away by. That the schedule just everything fell and slotted into place. But we were talking with Richard Hugh Dolan about doing a production one, and because that team skews a little bit older. And I realized that he hadn't had a chance to sit down and talk with you at all. Like, GateWorld hadn't had a Richard Hugh Dolan interview. So he was already inviting us into his home. He didn't want to do the offsite location that we picked. He was like, just come into my house, and we'll sit down and we'll talk for a few hours. So that's what we did. We went into his living room with his Christmas tree. The sun is setting in the background. And so Monday night, we went out and basically did a camera test to make sure that this space was going to work. And we sat and talked with him for at least 90 minutes, because you said, well, let's do this one together. And so this is going to be another Dial the GateWorld collaboration. And
just like the good old days.
Wonderful. Like, he's like, he all but designed that Stargate. Patrick Tatopoulos and his art directors on the film, they created the thing, but Richard made it spin and work for 10 plus years. And then he went off and he had come from Doctor Who and a few of these other really cool projects, went on to do Battlestar Galactica and Arrow. And so and it was wonderful to sit down and talk with. That was really cool to have time with the two of you together, because that wasn't in the original plan. That's why I love coming up there, is like, let's see what we can do that we weren't planning on. Let's see who's available and who's interested.
Yeah, that was really remarkable. A chance to not just to pick Richard's brain while he's still, fresh. And as long as it's been for these guys since they were working on this material, they still are telling the same stories. And a lot of the stories that we had never heard before or had not heard in full. So
That's right.
it was great to be able to chat with him, to be able to have that piece of history, which we'll talk more as we go about history, but to have that
Yeah.
piece of Stargate production history on GateWorld as well as for Dial the Gate is really special. Richard, for those who don't know, a production designer is very high up in the food chain. Richard is essentially my understanding of his role on Stargate was he essentially for the first 5 seasons of SG1 was the boss of a lot of the departments. So the art department, every Dial of the Gate talks with concept artists and people from right set deck and lighting construction.
Construction.
These
Yeah.
departments that put the
Paint.
sets together, put it up on screen. The production designer is overseeing all of that work. So it really is the look of the show from design to execution.
Mm-hmm. And budget. His ability to sit there and go, well, we're gonna. He looks at he breaks down his process. Like it all comes down to the number of pages and the length of the page. If it's you want this squirrel checking me out here, but go on. No, I don't want you.
He wants to be on camera.
He sure does. Go away. No, I could reach down and touch him. No, seriously, take off.
He senses talent. He wants to be in the biz. Come on.
I gotta share this. Look at this. What do you want?
Yeah, that's a creature that's used to being fed.
You ready for your close-up?
Hello, squirrel. Welcome to GateWorld.net. My name is Darren. I'm the host of GateWorld.net. You are a squirrel.
So literally, squirrel. Anyway, I apologize. Is that level?
It's level. Yeah, you're not quite framed. Go a little further to the right.
Left or right?
You're
my
right.
right or your right?
You're right. That's perfect.
Awesome. So after the squirrel, let's get back to the Gate. We talking about Richard?
Yeah, but let's keep rolling because I want to talk about Dial the Gate before the hour's over.
Okay. Yeah, the trip was amazing, and so Richard was getting to sit down with him and spend some time with him in that setting, just 2-on-1 was great. Then Tuesday, we had the first part of the day. Rob Fournier of P51 Productions and Falcon Enterprises. This guy is responsible for the human look of the show, the military look of the show, and making it realistic in terms of the weaponry. So the armorer is responsible for supplying the guns and the blanks to the show and making sure that they are all clean and that the actors are using them safely. And so what I wanted to do was get a crash course with him on. I have a concealed carry permit for the state of Arizona, so I've already gone through a couple of days worth of training, but I wanted to film some of that. And so Rob and Tom Falcon led us into their facility, and we did like 3 hours of not just a P90 live fire demonstration with blanks, but he took us through the different weapons that have been used in so many of the major productions up there, from iRobot to Deadpool. And so we got kind of a history recorded of Vancouver's sci-fi weapons. So there's going to be a lot of different things. Battlestar Galactica's weapons, they supplied them all. Yeah, so that was extremely cool.
Blade Trinity, whatever the third Blade was, with Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds, excuse me.
Yep, Ryan Reynolds. So the
Battlestar, iRobot.
Yep.
Some amazing set pieces, right, that we've watched on screen for 20, 30 years.
That's it. So we spent the early part of the day with him, and then we went back to the spot that we picked out for the roundtables, and we had Simone Bailey.
Now keep talking. Don't worry, everybody. I'm going to switch over to desktop, and it's going to show David's pics from Rob that you posted on Twitter.
Apologies.
But it's going to go blank for a minute. It's going to go blank for a minute while I select the correct screen
Oh,
to
okay.
capture.
Oh, you have your pictures from the trip.
No, I'm just pulling up your tweet so that people can see.
Oh,
There we
okay.
go.
Are you the Fournier tweets?
Yep. With the muzzle
Okay, very cool.
flash. We can see
Yeah.
it
So
now.
there's a little business happening out of that business end. Now, the reason that it looks like that is because there's more gunpowder in blanks than there would be normally because there's no ammunition being discharged. So there's more room for the gunpowder, and so you get a bigger explosion, which is what we are accustomed to seeing on the show and in a lot of other shows because they're
Right.
firing blanks. But in real life, that's not what's happening. So that was really cool. But Simone Bailey led a group with, she played Kal-El in Stargate's SG-1, and she played Lincoln in Stargate Universe, one of the Destineers. And she was paired with Mike Dopud, who played everyone from Odai Ventrell to in SG-1's Bounty to Keurig in Tracker, and ultimately Varro for late season 1 of SGU and all of season 2. And they had a couple of hours together as well. And we did very much the same thing with them that we did with the earlier group, just sitting down and talking about their Stargate experiences. But Simone, God bless her, she was prepared. She came in ready to go. And
Yeah, she worked her butt off getting ready for this.
she did. She had these 3x5s with questions on them, and they could have gone for 4 hours. And we went for about 90, 100 minutes, and we just had to break. And then it was very clear that, like, if they had gotten through it, they would have been dead. So she and I regrouped, and she figured out the things that she wanted to say based on what we had previously already got on camera, and she did perfect. And that was really great because she took advantage of what it was that I was trying to achieve for this, and she brought it to life. So that one was really all hers. I just wound them up and let them go. But yeah, that was a great group as well.
Yeah, that was excellent. And we talk all the time about Stargate fans meeting each other at conventions and becoming friends. And that was the case for Sharon Taylor and Simone Bailey. They were never on screen together in Stargate. They met at a fan convention and are now best friends, which is really cool.
Stargate sisters, they called each other. And that was so surprising because the secret to a good Stargate convention is, yes, you go there originally to meet the cast. But if you come back, typically speaking, if you're lucky, you have found your little niche of people, and the talent become the cherry on top, as I think one of them said, because you're really there to see each other. And that's the thing that I love about GateCon so much, is because GateCon, it is like the guests really are the fans, and the talent are there to support that and share stories and just catch up with one another. So it was really cool to actually get to hear an experience where some of the Stargate talent who never got to work together actually became tight and became a part of each other's lives as a result of Stargate conventions. So it really can go both ways.
Yeah. Okay, take us to Wednesday. Wednesday was our final day of shooting, and we again had two things.
Yes. So we started off with Gary Jones, Sergeant Walter Harriman, Chief Master Sergeant. Oh my God, here come birds.
They want to be on camera too.
I guess so. Someone just threw bread. And we started off with him and Ellie Harvey, who played Lindsay Novak in SG-1 in Atlantis. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And then Paul McGillian, Dr. Carson Beckett, and Ernest Littlefield. And so we had conversations with them up and down English Bay outside of, do you remember the name of the hotel? The
Sylvia's? Sylvia or Sylvia's, yeah.
The Sylvia Hotel. And they took us on a walk. It was Gary Jones's idea. Let's do a walk and talk. And I'm like, in the rain? Is that what you wanted? Because it was drenched the last couple of days, off and on. And then Josh, your son, he was like, well, let's the weather looks good. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. And lo and behold, we woke up the next morning and the skies parted, the clouds parted, and everything was fine. And so we got beautiful footage out in English Bay with them down by the water. Just they took a walk. They went and found a bench. They caught up. They gave us, their Stargate stories, just talking with each other. And then they walked down to the water and we wrapped, and they went for another good 90 minutes. So it was a great afternoon. And these all turned out, in terms of like the concept of what I wanted, they executed better than I expected. The audio is going to be a little tricky. This is our first time doing a lot of this. This was the biggest project that Remington had done, because he's usually just a straight up photographer. His portrait photography is extraordinary. So we were all trying to expand ourselves a little bit and figure out what we could really do next, not just for our own edification in terms of educating ourselves on production and process, but something to give to the fans as well.
Yeah.
And so we achieved that. And then the last one, we went back to Richard Hugh Dolan's place, and he brought in Bridget McGuire, who was under him for SG-1, left and joined for Stargate Atlantis in season 6, and Douglas McLean, who left with him at the end of season 5 and went over to Battlestar Galactica and to Arrow, and I think something else. I can't remember right now, but they all came and sat down and talked about their experiences on SG-1, Richard and Doug on the first 5 seasons. And we covered a great deal of content also with Bridget from seasons 6 to 10 as well. You made sure to bring up things like the village, and she brought up the Ori altar that burned the stunt woman. This was
where Vala was immolated,
sacrificed. Yeah, there were so many stories that I had never heard before. A few chestnuts that I had heard that they brought back, but everything had greater context because they all sat down and downloaded the information together and then were able to fill in holes. That's what I loved about bringing people together, is because they remember more when they were with one another than if I'm just telling them, well, this episode had this going on in this, because they actually lived it. And so we got a lot more stories, a few really interesting stories from the back end of production on several episodes where you had creative differences, and they were really open about sharing those, which is not something that I was necessarily interested in going for in terms of like figuring out your way with other heads of department. And they were very open in sharing those things. So
yeah,
I think you were the one who came away with an experience that you really didn't expect.
Yeah, it's because, right, not just because of the roles that those 3 people played as seniors in their respective areas of crew, of the production, but the fact that, just as you said, we got them all in a room and got them talking to each other, and not just to us, not just to camera, but now all that sort of, sharing, reminiscing around the dinner table that they would do together, we got to capture that. And they would bounce off each other and bring up old memories and stories that they haven't told for a long time. So getting them together was absolutely one of a kind, unique, and the sorts of stories that we heard. Those folks are friends. They've been friends for decades.
That's right.
They continue to have wonderful relationships with each other, and so they continue to have that sort of shorthand familiarity with each other. And to just get them talking about Stargate for 2 hours was amazing. I think I said to them at the end of it, I think, David and I, you and I have been doing this in some form or another for 20 years. And I feel like this is one of the best things that we've ever done, that we've ever captured on camera.
And Bridget really unlocked the reason as to why, because I asked her what it was about. Sorry, everyone. Bridget mentioned the fact that they were all there together in the same space. And she said, you don't realize how rare that is, even then, because so many of the production folks are down in LA. Whereas up here, they're all in the same area, and they really get to spend time with each other in the same place, learning and figuring stuff out. So Darren, they are feeding these things like crazy. So I'm going to do a walk and talk with you down to a bench. So
Okay,
am I
the geese aren't.
centered?
You can walk if you want, but the geese aren't bothering us.
Well, they're bothering me. So
Okay.
am I centered?
Yep.
Perfect. So I'm going to pull
Guys,
a Louis Ferreira.
do what you got to do. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us in the chat today. We're just talking Stargate. We're talking Dial the Gate. Who's here? Raj Luther's here helping us out. Jeff Suns and Shadows is helping us out. Hellcats is also here on the mod team. Guys, if you have any questions for David or for the both of us, post them in the chat and we'll keep an eye out for them. Jeff at Suns and Shadows wants to know if we visited any fun locations that we had not been to before. You want to take that?
Trying to think.
I was hoping for a couple of Stargate locations because I haven't done the tour. I've never done the tour at the convention where they go around to like Jack's cabin and Simon Fraser University. So I was hoping we might have time to slip in a spot here and there. And we didn't. We were working or driving in the rain the whole time. So we didn't see any Stargate locations. Although it was funny, we did when we stopped for lunch. I looked up a noodle house to try, and we went and found a place to park and got out of the car, looked across the street, and there was the Vancouver theater where we had attended the Stargate Continuum premiere with the cast and crew in 2008.
Yeah, I took a look at that and I was like, I think I've been there. And then you were like, I think so too. And I looked at the lobby in front, and it goes all the way across. It's like, yeah, we saw Stargate Continuum here, so that was kind of funny.
We shot our own featurette there.
That's it. If there
on the
was
red
any
carpet.
Disappointment, it's that we didn't have a chance to go and find a spot, because that's something that's the more time goes by, the more that city converts into something else, and those production locations are being eaten up one after the other. Like all of Satita, those it was like an ironworks or something. The demolished parts of that's all gone. Even the brick towns that was used in, or village that was used in Revisions in season 7, and Irresponsible in, I think, season 3, it doesn't exist anymore. So that our hope is to capture more of that. And if these episodes really do well, the point of all of this is to say that we'll do more of them. So if you like the content, please comment that you like it and that you want more, because the algorithm will feed it to more people, and we'll get up there and potentially do another one as early as middle of next year, if not sooner, if it does well. Otherwise, it was, bottom line, an interesting experiment that we had a lot of fun with. I learned a lot and made a lot of great memories with you and with your son and Remington, and with Martin and Astrid over at SGA Gate Builders. And it was a wonderful, wonderful time.
It really was. I hope that we get to do it again. It's easier for me, obviously, because I'm in the proximity of the Seattle area, so I'm in driving distance to Vancouver. But this goes to another question that I'm seeing here in chat from Boo453. Were the actors paid for this? If so, who or what funded this? Dial the Gate funded this, by and large. Do you want to speak to this?
Remington definitely bought his own rig for for a camera. So I do not want to steal his thunder in that regard. We could not have shot the 120 frames per second P90 photography that we got for that. And so that is all him. I shot some of it with my 60 frame per second camera. It did not come out like his did. A lot of the gun blasts were cut literally in half as the sensor went and scanned. There's like fire in one chunk of the frame and none above it.
Oh, wow.
But Remington got it all. So
yeah,
I cannot thank him enough for that.
When you guys see this content, all the beautiful hero footage is Remington's.
Yeah.
So thanks to him.
Is great. With his lens. I think I'm gonna actually get one of those lenses rather than this full. He has like a $5,000 rig. I don't need that. But the lens is like a few $100. So I can definitely duplicate the shots. But other than the P90 fire, we're never going to need anything that complicated again in terms of frame rate that I can possibly think of. So that is all him. But yeah, I funded the rest of it largely thanks to you and to Remington for the gasoline and the vehicles. Joe, our logistics guy on site, he was able to get us a space for like $50 a day. So that was perfect. But the actors and the crew did it for free.
Yeah, big thanks to them. They donated their time, and in many cases, we were at least able to buy them a meal and say thank you.
Yeah, we did pay. I did get to feed a number of them. We weren't able to do that for everybody, to my regret, but yeah, that was something that we definitely did and got to sit down and break bread together and do all that. But the room that we found was really reasonable. I wasn't looking for something extremely high end this go around. I'm hoping that there will be someone in Vancouver who will be like, well, I've got this space over here. If you come up again, let's do this instead. So I'll want something a little bit higher end if we do go up there again. Maybe a theater space or something.
That would be cool.
But it was the important thing, as I said to you privately, was to get the stories, and we got the stories.
Yeah, it was, as you said, it was an experiment, and it was fun to try something new. Try lots of different things. We shot in different kinds of spaces. We did the outside walk and talk, which I don't think I've ever been a part of before. But it was a blast.
They really moved. Because keep up with them, because Remington was going backwards, and so we had Martin and Astrid literally with a hand on his back, and then the other one, and then your son were clearing branches out of the way so that Remington could walk backwards without stumbling. It worked great. The weather, everything behaved, and no one canceled on us on the last minute. Michael Greenberg was going to go out and hang out with us, and he wasn't able to make it. But everyone who meant to be on camera were there, and a couple of extras just ended up showing up. Martin Wood joined us briefly for dinner one night, so it was really good to see him. And it was really like coming home. It was these little reunions where we all knew each other back in the day on set or offset nearby at the cons, and just coming together and remembering a show that we all love. So that was really, really special. That it continues to mean something, and it would have still been fantastic, but it meant so much more having the gas tank filled up with the new show. And so it gave us an anchor point to fix to orient ourselves in a specific direction. And so that is the thread that goes through the entire range of content that we did, because everyone wants to be a part of it.
There is, as we've been saying for weeks, there's a new energy with the new Stargate series being announced. And what we discovered in Vancouver is that's not just the fans, that extends to previous cast and crew as well. People who were excited about what Stargate was for the Vancouver film and television industry, not just for their own jobs, but I mean, that decision hasn't been made yet, but I sure hope Stargate considers going back to Vancouver, at least for some of what they're doing.
Yeah, wherever their base of operations is going to be is anyone's guess. I think Martin said in his interview with both of us on our simulcast that they're open to shooting all over the world, which is really exciting.
Yeah,
it's overdue.
So we had planned this trip before we found out about the new Stargate show. It's been in planning for a few months, and it was going to be kind of following up on season 5 of Dial the Gate. Your original plan for ending season 5 was the conversation that you had with Michael Shanks.
Yes,
and then it just wouldn't end because we got a new show to talk about.
Exactly. We were completely blindsided by that, and what a gift. Michael, I think, finished out season 3 of Dial the Gate with me, and then again for season 4. And it was like, well, let's do a third one. And so he and I had planned that well in advance. And then Martin Garrow did that thing that he did, which was announce a new show. And I was like, well,
Right as you were wrapping up.
I was wrapping up, and I couldn't tell Michael what was going on. But I was like, I called and I was like, can you move this thing up by a couple of weeks? And he was like, sure, that's fine. It's totally. And he did. And then the announcement came out, and then we met with him that, I guess, Saturday, and he talked about that exclusively for a solid half hour plus. So it really has reinvigorated everybody, and it was a great addition to the season, that conversation. And then you and I got to have Martin Garrow, and Martin was originally going to be the one who was going to wrap up Dial the Gate season 5, because that seemed really appropriate, because it's his baby now. It's what he wanted. But I had still had a couple of lures in the water, trying to get some people for the show. And I was pretty much ready for everybody to, if they had accepted, I would have been like, you know what? I'm out of town. I really appreciate this. Let's go ahead and put a pin in this until January. And then I got a response from Bill Nye from television. And
Television's Bill Nye.
Right. It's just like Neil says in Brainstorm. And I was like, I'm not going to make this guy wait. There's no way. And him and Martin are friends. So we sat down a couple of mornings ago. He picked a time that wasn't booked for us. And I literally sat in the hotel and had a wonderful conversation with him, around about 50 minutes. We talked about everything. He moves through stuff very quickly with interest. It's not empty. So yeah. I was able to answer 6 or 7 fan questions. So fans got to submit questions for that. That was pre-recorded. And then I'm going to go and just dub it so that I'll re-record myself, because it looked horrible in the hotel room. And Bill will probably be on. This is not a lock, but I will probably have him air the day after Christmas. So that's the plan.
Okay, that'll be a good Christmas present.
Exactly.
And this is like
Boxing Day present.
Yeah, you've decided this is not going to be the start of season 6. This is going to be an addendum to season 5, right? A special bonus Christmas episode with Bill Nye. I think that's awesome.
Season 6, 2026 is the plan now. So that's I try to keep each season self-contained in its year. And some people are like, well, why have seasons? And it's like because they're just,
you're treating it like a show.
Yeah, there's some symmetry to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun to have big premieres and big finales that we can help promote.
Exactly.
Farsidious won.
Reasons to do things like that.
Yeah, Farsidious won with $10. Thank you for the super chat. Farsidious one says, "Thanks for all your effort supporting Stargate. Really enjoy your streams. Can't wait to see what's next." And Whitney Nolan VFX asks, "When do you think you'll start premiering? When are folks going to be able to start to see all this stuff that we shot in Vancouver this week?"
Sometime in January. I am in conversations with one of the leads to come in after January the 11th. So I don't want to kickstart things right away. I want to have a chance to decompress myself and some of this footage and get it all in place. I have a team of video editors now, and I'm going to edit the first one together as kind of a template, and then I'm going to give the others to them. I'm really looking forward to producing much more in season 6 than editing. The live stuff will obviously be edited, but I really want to see what kind of caliber of people I'm working with, because we've got the show on IMDb now, and we can give them some credits for editing and production. And I'm really thrilled with a lot of their work. We've had this tribute to Joel Goldsmith that I've been working on, that was going to be originally released on Thanksgiving, and then I was going to look at a Christmas release, And there was an opportunity to get a little bit more of his music into this. So we've throttled back and are waiting for some other options to be opened up here. So a lot of stuff that's not available commercially yet, because I really want that to be fantastic. And so that may be the lead in to, I don't know, it's going to be in the early part of season 6. So if you're a fan of the
This is
music,
going to be
we've got
really
some
cool.
really great stuff coming.
Yeah, this is going to be really cool. I've gotten a little bits and pieces of a preview of this project, and it's the opportunity to get more of Joel's music out into the world is always welcome. So whatever it takes, we're going to keep nagging MGM to give us now Amazon MGM to give us an SGU soundtrack that we can buy.
There's not nagging.
I'll nag if that's what it takes. I will nag.
Well, you can nag. The piece opens with Destiny leaving Earth, and it's perfect. It's like that's how that would have happened. It flies over the limb of the moon and leaves the Sol system, and it's based on a very very tall, ultra wide, like 16:9 shot created by Chris Diston, and it's just called Inceptum, and it's perfect. And I wanted to create that shot, and my buddy Matt Wilson, he took the model, and he got an asset of the moon and Earth, and he did it, and it's fantastic. And so that's how that piece is going to open. I'm really excited about everyone getting to see that. We played a preview of it a couple of weeks ago. I did a brief episode on Thanksgiving because I had to release something, because I agreed to release something. And so that's in there, as well as a preview of the music from Avalon that's going to be shown with the F-302 dogfight over Antarctica, the flashback to Lost City, that's in there. And a little bit of Rachel Luttrell, who is hosting this. She was wonderful as a host because she got to collaborate with Joel on Beyond the Night in season 2 in the episode Critical Mass. And we also have contributions from Brad Wright and Robert C. Cooper. So it's going to run, hopefully not 2 hours. It's going to run hopefully closer to 90 minutes. And it's a great tribute to him. Very, very proud of it.
Yeah, that's a very special piece of what's coming up. I ostensibly asked you here to talk about season 5 of Dial the Gate, which was your 2025 season in particular. What are some of the highlights that stand out when you think about the work that your team has done this year and the conversations that you've had with folks as you have continued to document the history of Stargate's production?
Vanessa Angel launched our season. She was we had never managed to connect, and she became available, and so she opened up to us and had a lot of wonderful stories to share from season 4, because she had done that arc. They had brought her in
as
one of the rare, as Anise and Freya. It's one of the rare times where they had contracted a guest star for a series of episodes in advance, because to our knowledge, Stargate didn't really do that. And it was that was a wonderful conversation. The conversations that I really got to have with fans really stood out this season. We had Stargate Fusion on French fandom, and we had a French translator for them, and that episode was really special. The 350th episode of Dial the Gate is one called The Gate Builders. And we spoke with the children of MacGyver's children. It's EMG, and I can't say it in French, but that's the name. And they have spent the last decade plus constructing a 1-to-1 scale Stargate based on Richard Hugh Dolan's design. They had the blueprints, they had some of the molds, they recreated this thing. They originally did the Atlantis gate because it turned out that way. They weren't really planning on doing it, but it was the first one that they made. And then they took the panels off of it and rebuilt the SG-1 SGC Stargate. So it's the Milky Way gate, and it is accurate down to the for want of a better word, flaws in the production design when they built it on the face. That is how accurate they got. At one point, they had a chance to recreate something. So if you take the ring and you turn it on its side, that middle section has layers and layers of elements, and they literally sat down with wooden pieces or something similar and rebuilt it visually. And then they had an opportunity to get one of the molds, and Quentin, who does the who is the guy chiefly responsible there, he's runs all of it. It's basically like he was in a bind because this is what he made, and now he has a chance to use the real thing. And they eventually decided, look, we've got the authentic one now. Let's go ahead and just set the work that the hundreds of hours of work that they did. They set that one aside, and they just went ahead and pulled molds from the originals. And so it is
because they wanted to be perfect. They wanted to be a perfect replica of what was spinning on the set.
Perfect replica. The glow of from the chevrons, those were halogen bulbs, if I'm not mistaken. Those bulbs were very hot, and they had to duplicate the look with LEDs so that it would be pleasing when you look at it with the naked eye, but B, if you're photographing it with a phone or with a camera, it has to be as close as possible to the look that you got from the set of the show. And when you were seeing it on camera, especially in the interior in SGC, it's all lit anyway. So they had this tightrope walk to figure out, and they did it. And so episode 350 is a conversation with them about arriving at that. And they were generous enough halfway through to show a montage of building that whole gate. And so if you go and watch it, you will definitely see that. And that's one that I can't recommend highly enough. I think the other one that really stood out to me later on in the season, after the new show was announced, I reached out to Louis Ferreira, who played Everett Young in SGU. And I had never really, I think he declined, or his agent certainly declined, like in season 1 of Dial the Gate. And I just left it alone. And the announcement came out, and I went and reached out to him again. And the emails that you and I were getting, it was bananas. Like people congratulating us on the show coming back and congratulating us personally for getting to be a part of that launch. And it's like a week later, and I'm going through and I'm responding to every one of them. And I'm going through the emails received through dialthegate.com. And it said, hi, it's Colonel Young here dialing in. I'm like, oh, when was this sent? 6 days ago. Well, and there was a phone number on there. And so I responded to the email right away. I was like, Colonel, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I did not expect you to come in through the front door, because I had given them all of my information. He had just gone to Dial the Gate and done his research on his own. And as it turns out, he doesn't do interviews. He hasn't done one in like 15 years. So he went up to Big Bear Lake and took a stroll and took his phone on this walk. And so we got to stroll up to the little town that's alongside Big Bear Lake out east of here, outside of LA. And we got to know him for almost 2 hours. I brought William Murphy on, and I brought Jacob Eliash on, one of my producers and one of my lead archivists, respectively. And we sat down and spent some time with him. And it was unlike anything that I expected, because I didn't realize, I knew that cast was really close. But I didn't expect him to be so welcoming and inviting, and he just took Dial the Gate in. And I'm out here right now. I'm a best man in a wedding next year, and Kevin Weaver is one of my producers and moderator in the Dial the Gate forum at the Dial the Gate YouTube channel during chats. And not only am I pushing him out of a plane tomorrow morning, but on Sunday we're going to go out to where Louis lives in the desert, and we're going to go for a hike, and we're going to go to dinner, and we're going to talk about SGU. So, and just not to film anything, but just to connect and to really talk about what could be next for Stargate. Because the fact of the matter is, I really want more of the SGU cast to be involved in Dial the Gate, and
absolutely.
I think that he might help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's cool. Guys, go and check out Louis Ferrer's interview on Dial the Gate if you haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a great interview. He's hilarious.
Yeah. Watching the chat, guys, if you have any questions for David, drop them in the chat. Raka Deja says, how did my cat manage to bring up a GateWorld live stream? Well, your cat has very good tastes.
Very, very good taste.
What surprised you this season? What were you, other than Bluey kind of emailing you out of the blue, and these
that
sorts of the bigger interview, or these interviews that we're not expecting suddenly appear out of nowhere, and now they're streaming a week later. What else surprised you this year?
So much of the season is a blur, because a lot of it happened very fast once the announcement came.
Yeah.
Ellie Harvey was a great surprise. She turned around real quick and wanted to come on. A lot of the emails from the cast, just not wanting in, but just tapping me on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, we're out here, and we're really gonna leverage a lot of that coming up." So that was great. Louis was really the biggest surprise. I think the thing that kind of surprised me the most is from this week with you, how open some of these roundtables were in terms of discussing things, because it's obviously been 30 years since SG1's premiered, and it's 30, turning 30 this coming summer. And you always hear, oh, it was great, it was like a family, you know. Christopher Judge is famous for saying it was Shangri-La. We got some stories this week that really reflected the fact that, yeah, these people are kind of working in an office, and you're going to have professional disagreements. And you're actually seeing these people more often than you're seeing your spouses and your kids. And that was not something that I was expecting, where people were really open about sharing how they felt creating this thing that we all love that had 17 seasons. And part of me was like, I don't know if I necessarily want to know some of this stuff, because you don't necessarily, in most cases, want to see the zipper up the monster's back. And there's a certain amount of, look, you're creating this behind the scenes content, you're just going to accept the fact that this just comes with the territory. If you want to get in the mud and create something awesome, you can't start to complain that you might get dirty. And we got that. So It was just like, I'm thinking to myself, do they really want this to be on camera? And everyone was good with it. Okay,
this reality?
This is not our story to tell. This is theirs. If they if they feel it's appropriate in this context, who are we to say otherwise? So it's an oral history.
It's an oral history of Stargate's production, and sometimes that's warts and all. We're not here to torch anybody. We're not here to go after anybody's reputation. But as you say, it's a workplace. Not everybody got along all the time, and there were disagreements professionally, creatively, etc., personally. And sometimes that's part of the history of the show. That's part of the history of the production itself. is how they navigated these issues, and
That's
somebody
it.
got their way and somebody didn't.
That's it. That's how you make a show. And I'm not going to dig up dirt. But if can you hear me, Darren?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a call coming in.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
not
not
going
going
to.
to dig up dirt, but at the same time, we also want to avoid just sort of the rosy sunglasses and just
Right.
valorizing everybody who was on the production because we have
Yeah,
stars in our eyes.
that's it. No, one of my favorite quotes is from Star Trek Voyager, where Harry Kim says to Neelix Neelix is trying journalism. You don't want a steady diet of dessert. It's fine for a little while, but pretty soon you want some meat and potatoes. And in season 6, you're gonna get some meat and potatoes. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and John Yulden U7M in the chat says, you don't get something wonderful. I think I misread this. You don't get something wonderful with a creative tension. Yeah, sometimes I don't want to know, he says. I would maybe put that the opposite of what you said, which is sometimes you need creative tension in order to produce something special.
I think that may be what he was trying to get at. A lot of really beautiful stuff comes from a crucible, because you burn away the stuff that doesn't need to be there, and you you learn to trust each other. You learn to trust one another's instincts, and trust each other's talents. And especially with the production roundtable, we really saw that. With a lot of the others, I was more than willing, but I had to prompt them. It's like, okay, this is fantastic. Now let's go in this direction. And now ask it this way. And why don't you guys go ahead and do that? And so they did a lot of that. Whereas with the production roundtable, they, we sat down with them for a couple of minutes and said, like, this is what we want. This is what we want. This is what we want. And they went and did it for nearly an hour. We said nothing. We just sat back, and they just kept on, because they were the ones who were truly sitting in an office for 5 years together. And that's what they did. And it was only after about the 55 or so minute mark where I felt the need to come in and interject. And it's the only one of the roundtables where my voice, and I think your voice as well, will stay in this one, because we didn't say, okay, now pause. Now you asked that question on our behalf. We just kept it rolling. So you're going to hear us in that one. And it was so intimate, and fans are really going to, if you want to get a greater peek behind the curtain, season 6 is going to be it. And if you enjoy them, we will do more. And because we'll be able to turn around and say, okay, this is what we shot, X, Y, or Z, who we'd like to come and talk to next. I'd like you to lead one. Who would you like to sit down with from Stargate, who's not from these groups, who's in the Vancouver area? Maybe we'll do one in LA. I'm hoping to do an SGU reunion next season. The show was canceled the day that we sat down with Mike Dopood, and we didn't bring that up at the time because we forgot. But the last episode aired, was it March or
The
April or May?
Yeah, you mean
Gauntlet?
the when we sat
Gauntlet.
down with Mike this week was the 15th
Yes.
anniversary of the show's being canceled.
Cancellation
Yeah, and then
announcement.
Gauntlet. Yeah, we found out in December, and then Gauntlet aired in May.
Okay. I would love to shoot for some kind of a get together with the crew for that date. It just feels right. And that's one of the things I want to talk with Louis about, because it's still my favorite. And part of me is still with them. So it's this whole project has exceeded my wildest expectations,
Yeah.
and turned out to be exactly what I wanted to achieve. It just looks different than I expected it to. In some ways, it looks a lot better. And that's you're a creator. You have this idea, and then you go and you will it into concrete or wood or a website, or a film. And it's that feeling of satiation that you get when oh, this is good. Hey, it's great, but that doesn't mean anyone's going to watch it or look at it or enjoy it, and that people respond to it though and are saying, I get what you're doing here, give me more of that please, has been, especially for the past 5.5 weeks since the announcement's been made. I've been so thankful for that fans they have 380 episodes, like 600-700 hours of content that they can now catch up on, that's going to help fill that time between now and 2 years from now, when SG4 premieres. That's really exciting. And a lot of it is crappy video and audio, but the stories are there. And that's like Willie Garson, Cliff Simon, the stories are there for everyone, and they're there for free.
Yeah, it's a catalog. It's an archive, and it's now 5 seasons, 380 some episodes later. It's a very substantial archive, but I get the feeling that you're in a lot of ways really just getting started.
Oh no, man. It's going to be an interesting couple of years. There are a lot more doors that are open to us now. A lot of it's because of the announcement, and a lot of it's because of the friends that we've made along the way, and people who are willing to share. I think you would probably agree that the one of the things that has always surprised me the most is people who were involved in production, both in front of and behind the camera, who see what it is that we're trying to do and are like, I'll sit down and I'll talk with them. And there are some people who are just not interested, and that's okay. And at the other end of it, there are some people who are just too busy, and that's okay too.
Yep.
And I will always, put the first foot of mine that gets out of my bed in the morning sets foot on the floor is one of humility. I always want to lead with that, and I'm so very thankful of the attention that our mutual projects are getting right now. But it's not about us. It's about the people that we are highlighting, and it's about that the next idea that we're going to get when we travel through Stargate and go to someplace really cool next, because the next 25-30 years of Stargate fans are going to continue to appear over the next couple of years and into these first few episodes of this new show, and they are going to be the ones who are going to carry us into 2050. Because if Martin does this right, we're not going anywhere.
You're anticipating one of my other questions, which I want to ask you about season 6 and what's coming up moving forward in just a minute. Looking at the chat, guys, if anybody has any questions for David here, at GateWorld in your comments so that I can see it, so that catches my eye. A couple people are saying that they're hearing my audio only on one channel. That might be because of my new audio setup. I think having a second bud in is not helping, because this mic should not be on, but I do have my new mic off to the side. So if this sounds better to you now the mic is centered, then it's because my new mic is placed off to the side. I'm still learning and experimenting with the new setup. What?
Get it right.
It'll happen.
I would put Joseph Malazzi on pause with a please stand by screen up when I would have issues. Joseph Malazzi, I would have him on, and my software would just be like, oh, I'm taking a break, and I'd be like,
it's always something.
Always.
Well, we're one of the things that we benefit from with the new Stargate series, and the fact that Martin decided to include us in it, is both of our channels are seeing a nice big boost. And for my part, I'm going to take advantage of that boost to upgrade some of my equipment, including this microphone.
Yep.
But it's going to take me a while, I think, to dial it in and really get the settings right and figure out how to use it on a live stream. So thank you, everybody, for being here. We're at around 90 people watching right now. Let's talk about Dial the Gate Season 6. This is going to be 2026. Your break this year is going to be shorter. You've already told me that you're coming back pretty early in the new year. What are your plans? Do you have a premiere date you want to announce here to the GateWorld audience? Do you have hopes for season 6 guests that you have not booked yet, or maybe that you have and you're ready to announce yet?
I don't want to say not suspicious at all, but I don't I there are a few that I want, but I'm not ready to announce yet. The premiere will be after January the 11th. Right now, unless someone comes along and says, "Hey, I've got this time and I've this on this day, let's go and do it." I'm not anticipating to return until middle of January. Really got to get my feet under me for the new year, because this trip has really taken a lot out on every strata. But it's going to need some editing time for sure. But I want to get one of these out at least once a week. I want to get them out pretty quickly. I don't want them to sit around for too long, because a lot of it's talking about the new show, and so it's very timely. We need to get that out there. But I am hoping to do a lot more content this year than I did last year. The first season did 100 episodes, and this one will be closer to, the season 5 will be closer to 90. If season 6 can exceed 100 episodes, I'm not gonna cry about it. I may cry while I do it.
It would be nice.
That's crying about it.
I mean, it's a ton of work for you and your team.
It is.
But my hope really has been, I know yours has been as well, that having Stargate back in production, whether or not it's shooting in Vancouver, but just having Stargate in the front of mind for fandom and for the public consciousness again is going to help grease the skids a little bit. And some of the folks that you want to talk to, actors as well as crew from the previous shows, are going to be more interested. If they've got Stargate on the brain, they're going to be more willing to come on Dial the Gate.
That's it. And I think it's important to say at this stage, I'm still very interested in having on people who are only involved in one episode, from writers to actors to musicians to I really want, like, Ryan Purcell, camera operator, SGA and SGU. A lot more of the folks that you might not expect. Who I'm not going for clicks on this. I'm going to have people who are not going to get a great deal of interest initially, but I'm still going for people whose stories I haven't told, and that includes fans as well. There's a lot of folks who are doing rewatches now on YouTube and on Instagram and a couple of these other places, and we're going to continue to bring you the episodes that feature those folks. That's very important to me, because I'm looking at this from a 36,000-foot view as an archive that's going to withstand, a few decades to come. So I do want the higher profile folks who might be more interested now to talk, especially as we get moved closer to the launch and after the launch of the premiere. But people I'll put their image in the thumbnail and you won't know who that is. Like, I'm still very interested in sharing those stories, because at the end of the day, that's really the heart and soul of the channel. Getting Amanda would be wonderful. Getting folks like Chris Heyerdahl would be wonderful. But I'm really looking for, bottom line, stories that I've not had a chance to tell before. So
yeah, you have. It's funny, these stories keep coming around and around, and it's fun to hear the same story from different perspectives, from different guests. Sometimes you'll have an actor come on, and then a year later you'll have a director come on and tell the same story. That's fun.
Or slightly different. Like, the details are they don't necessarily line up, and that's the thing with oral histories, is they often don't line up after a period of time.
Yeah, and it's been enough years now that we're also starting to hear the same story differently from the same person, just because of the effects of time and memory.
Yes.
So it's great that we have an oral history project to document this material as long as it is as fresh as possible. So you were already anticipating this question, but how does an active Stargate production change what you are doing on Dial the Gate? We've articulated this recently as kind of GateWorld looks forward. We do news coverage. We cover the show that's coming up. Dial the Gate has always been very focused on the rearview mirror, documenting the history of the production. But now there's a brand new production. The writers' room is gathering in Los Angeles in January. We hope that it's going to be filming in 2026. You have a show that is actively in production to document that history as well. Do you start to do that work? Are you looking to have conversations with that cast and crew as the next 2 years unfolds, or are you going to wait until they have a bit of time to reflect on the experience before you have the sorts of conversations that you want to document?
That's a great question. GateWorld uh, got the chance to exclusively announce when Brian J. Smith was added to the cast of SGU. That was one of our exclusives. And I reached out to Brian at the time because I wanted to get to know him before he got to know Lieutenant Scott. And it's one of my favorite interviews over at GateWorld that I did because we got his perspective while it was void of working on that set. And I would really, particularly with a lot of the newer, more inexperienced of whoever that cast is going to be, like to do the same with them as much as possible. And that may not be something that Stargate Productions particularly wants, but it may be something that they're okay with. So we're going to have to kind of feel everyone out, because I want to establish first and foremost that not looking for spoilers, not looking for any intel. That can be your department. I'm just interested in collecting stories about people, because at the end of the day, that's really all that we are, and it's the greatest of what we leave behind. And that's my hope for SG4 as far as Dial the Gate goes in its pre-production form. Now, you and I, we know that we're going to be on set at some point. And so I'm going to be facilitating a lot of what you want to create. And I'm sure that something for Dial the Gate will come along the way.
Say more. I want to hear you reflect on this. As the show is moving through different stages of production, right? They're moving towards pre-production now. The show hasn't been cast. They haven't decided where they're going to film. And then we're going to move into a stage. So for those who haven't heard this, Martin Garrow, the show's creator, has told us, hey, fans should really expect that this takes a while. This takes about 2 years, give or take. So the show might premiere as early as, I guess, late 2027. But early 2028 might be possible. So there's going to be periods of production for us to cover this show in the different ways that we do. There's going to be the writer's room is going to kind of bang out the first season and figure out what the shape of the story is to meet Martin's vision. Then they're going to cast. Then they're going to have principal photography, right? Principal photography will last several months. It will be very likely in multiple locations. Martin told us that they want to shoot, or they plan to shoot, all over the world. And then it'll go into post, and it'll be in post-production and visual effects for probably a solid year before the first episode premieres. And then it's a whole new era, right? Then we're watching the show. Then we're getting to know the characters, hopefully loving new characters and loving the story. And then those actors, I envision, start to show up at conventions, and we get to meet them in person and have face-to-face conversations with them. So all these different periods of a new show rolling out and becoming part of the Stargate family. It seems to me it's kind of a different calculation for how you and I do what we do.
Yeah, come post-launch, it's going to be a whole new ball game. You and I are going to be busy, because once the new content becomes available, it'll all be about getting those stories out to everyone else who has loved and who has wanted to watch. And it's a new thing, so they're going to have this level of excitement about it. And the memory from a Dial the Gate perspective, the memories are going to be really fresh. So a lot of the content that I was creating for GateWorld will, as far as my part goes, be there on Dial the Gate. And we're going to have to figure out how we're going to do this two-step, you and I, where we can each create content on our own, but also come together for certain things. So it's just a matter of dividing and conquering the work, and taking advantage of what gifts we've been given by production and by Martin Garrow to share the creation of this thing with the people who have wanted it all along, and the people who don't know that they want it yet, who are going to tune in anyway because they saw it in an ad, or they're like, oh, I remember my friend talked about this show. Let me try this one because I heard that this one, it may have something from the others, but it's also its new thing as well. So let me try this. And that's going to be great, because that's how, like I said before, that's how we get into the next 25, 30 years of this, as the IP grows into the age of something more like Star Trek, Star Wars, that it's like, okay, this is a show that really has legs and is going to last for a really long time. And so it deserves people who are willing to really sit down and take time in creating a lot of this secondary and tertiary content that is now going to exist online along with the show. They don't really do special features anymore because we don't have DVD box sets and anything that is created on set, that is filmed on set with Predator cameras who are going like Ivan used to do, just go in and capture things. I don't know if Martin is going to have anything like that, or if Amazon MGM is going to plan to release anything other than the promotional material to just at the core promote the show. But that doesn't mean that you and I can't step more into Ivan Bartok's shoes and get some stuff for fans that fulfills the exact same purpose and is of that exact same type. So it all depends on what kind of access Martin is willing to allow us to have, and just what we can get away with. all
that would sure be cool.
We just want to promote. We just want to. We're doing this because we love it. We're not doing this for self-edification, and we want it to succeed because we trust in this guy's creative vision. And it doesn't mean that we're going to love all of it, but it means at the end of the day that we do love the Stargate, and it's got legs. And it's going to continue, I think, to prove its worth time after time, because it's, at the end of the day, it's us. It's about us. It's about us in the now.
A big part of this is going to be navigating our relationship with Amazon, which is brand new. We participated in recording the announcement and had a little bit of interface with their media team. That was a really positive experience, but we still have a whole show to do navigating that relationship with Amazon. So I hope that comes true, and we can do stuff for them, whether it's officially or unofficially, or do stuff with them to help support the show and support what Martin is doing. Right? I was telling you the other day that I was reading online about Fallout Season 2 is premiering this month, and
it is.
Amazon Prime Video had put up some recaps apparently that were AI generated, or at least AI was involved in the making of recaps, and the AI got stuff wrong, which of course Fallout fans pointed out right away, and so Prime Video kind of was embarrassed and had to pull these recaps down. Well, that's exactly the sort of content that you and I do. The GateWorld certainly does, is recaps, and it's content that I've been producing for SG1 and will continue to produce over the next couple of years before the show premieres. We're going to have recap material on GateWorld for people who are brand new to Stargate and don't necessarily want to go watch 350 episodes. 354, I know the right number. 350 plus hours of content before they watch the new show, and they want a recap. GateWorld's going to have that stuff, right? It's going to be fan made. It's going to look the way it looks, but you know what? It's not made by AI, and it's all going to be right. Knock on wood. So that's the sort of thing I envision. If we can partner with Amazon to produce some of that material, that would be a lot of fun. It's the sort of thing that's appropriate, I think, for fans to help generate, and not artificial intelligence.
No, God, no. And folks, if you've not watched Darren's history of Stargate SG-1, what is that thing? 30 minutes long? 40? How long is
45.
that?
45.
45 minutes? It is airtight. It's perfect. And I think your big responsibility for the next 2 years is to get the history of Atlantis and history of universe out. I hope you're planning on doing that,
That's certainly the
because
goal, yeah.
you can sit there and put uh, you can sit there and watch those things and come away with a very good idea of what was involved in creating those shows without knowing beat for beat exactly everything that's in those stories. I'm not necessarily going to spoil you completely. And then when you've got that all done, you can do a master one of the complete history of, or the history of current Stargates
Yeah.
on
All Stargate up to now.
television and DVD movies. Yeah.
The Stargate story so far, yeah. I would like to do Atlantis in Universe. I'm hoping that the SG1 video continues to pick up some steam and perform a little better, given the amount of time and effort that I put into it. I'd like to see its numbers up a little bit to justify continuing to do those long format documentary videos. But it was
Try
very
not to chase the
rewarding.
algorithm.
Yeah. Yeah. Try not to chase the algorithm.
Do something that you do it because you love it. If
So
you
that
don't,
was,
if you're not doing it because you're loving it, it's not worth it.
and that was, my first goal for that documentary was to do it as a gift to Stargate's cast and crew. I wrote the article that it was based on. I wrote a long history of production for the show's 25th anniversary. And it took me a couple of
Oh,
years to turn it into a video, but the video is an adaptation of that 25-year celebration as a gift to the cast and crew. That was really the motivation behind it, not the clicks. But I hear what you're saying. John Yulden says, David, I'm willing to bet that not going for clicks are the videos that will surprise you and end up getting lots of views. Look forward to seeing them. Are there? Do you have stuff that you're surprised kind of blew up the way that it did on your channel?
Rob Fournier's history of the P90 friggin' exploded. I was not that exploded on GateWorld. I did not expect that. And then I treated that same clip on Dial the Gate just out of curiosity to see what would happen, and it did the exact same thing. That was very bizarre. There's the fan stuff typically does a few hundred, but you go and you look at a lot of the legacy content, the older stuff in season 1 and season 2. I can definitely see that there is a growing audience of folks who are just watching and watching and watching and really getting into it and going. It's not certainly the majority, but there's a lot of folks that are going from episode to episode and watching it all. And I get a lot of that in comments now, where they're like, I just found this thing, I'm starting from the first one, or I'm 50 episodes in and I just want to let you know how that I'm here and I'm enjoying it. I mean, I read every one of those. So that in the YouTube comments. So that means a lot. And it's it there's not anyone in particular that stands out where it's like that is doing a whole lot better than I expected in terms of behind the scenes stuff, other than really Rob Fournier. That one kind of really was surprising. But there's nothing that's dead. There's nothing that sits at the bottom and doesn't move. Where I'm like, wow, really? That not only did I mean, I really felt like I wasted my own time creating that. I wasted the people I invited on time, their time, and that's nothing. There's been nothing like that, because it's not like a news channel where you have like a 24-hour news cycle and you have to keep on feeding the beast again and again and again, and that content behind you is no longer relevant because it's outdated. Like everything is designed from the get-go to be legacy content. So if it gets just a few hundred views, in the first couple of months, I don't care. I'm creating stuff that's of interest to me, and I'm reaching out to people who I think are interesting, and that's, I think, what you should really be starting with. There's plenty of YouTube channels out there that they're going for. Well, I've got to figure out exactly what it is that the algorithm wants, because this is what I want to do, and they're not fixed to anything. They're not they're not leaning on anything that's bigger than them. And that's just not the case here. It's going to be exactly what I want. And if I'm the only one watching it, that's okay. And
Yeah, it's for those people. It's for the right people. It's for the people who find it. And in some
I think
cases,
so.
if they find it 10 or 15 years from now, it's for them.
It's for them. That's right. So I've gotten a few comments of people don't like me interrupting, and I just respond and I say that's okay. My flavor is not ever going to be everyone's cup of tea. There is some of that I have improved on, but part of my shtick is uh, going in and pushing things a certain direction or another. It's not question, answer, question. That's not what this is. And I really tried to find the balance of that. And I think I've come into my own space in terms of finding it. So that's not going away.
Yeah, and
And
you've grown
if that's
certainly
the
as an
type of thing that you're
interviewer.
looking right, and if that's the type of thing that you're looking for, a rising tide raises all boats. Come and join us and start creating that content. Now, I came behind who was the Stargate guy? Who is that? What's his name?
Oh,
That
Taylor.
channel.
Yeah, the Stargate Guy channel.
Taylor Underwood.
Taylor.
Yeah. Taylor finished up the Stargate guy about 8 or 9 months before I started. And I literally stole his "See You on the Other Side," which he took from season 4's
2010.
2010. Yeah. And so we all kind of like do our thing, but if you want to start creating that content, I know there's a couple of the German podcasters, they're thinking about creating a lot of these. Come and join us. We have not pulled the ladder up behind us. And that I think is only going to be exemplified more as we move further into production and we start doing more of these fan roundtables where we start bringing all these people in. I loved doing those two, and they were a hell of a lot of work, but
Yeah.
they really worked in terms of what it is that we had in mind and what it is that we got to achieve, because everyone got to participate and do their thing and show themselves off no matter where they were in the world, and then their love for the franchise. I really hope that you're game for more of those simulcasts, because I really want to do a lot
Oh
more
yeah.
of them.
For sure. This is what we were also experimenting on after the announcement was
Yeah.
simulcast. And obviously people who follow one or both of our channels have seen us do a lot more sort of upfront collaborations. And now that I'm live streaming more, there's just all the more opportunity to do it. So yeah, look for more of that stuff to come. We're gonna keep doing it. And there's certain kinds of content that also I think really makes sense for us to co-stream on both channels, like we've done several times.
That's right. Well, in that instance, you and I had almost a 2-week heads up on something that no one else did, and we really wanted to create like a pop-up convention, and so we
Yeah.
did, and it worked.
Yeah.
And warts and all, there were some issues with it, but at the end of the day, the stories were there. So, like, people got to share and they got to be excited together, and that's all that I'm in this for. I don't need to make a single penny from it, as long as I feel like my time has been spent on something that is well done.
Clayton Dora asks, what kinds of interviews and interview topics would you like to line up on the road to release? Presumably this is what kind of content are we thinking of between now and the release of the new show? Obviously for me, for GateWorld, there's a whole new team of people who are just being hired right now and who haven't been hired yet, who we're going to want to talk to about their experience, whether it's the actors who are going to play these characters we watch week in and week out, or, you know, the art directors and concept artists. And David, your interest in production crew goes all the way down to the key grips and the gaffers, it seems like.
The catering, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know yet, because I don't know what we're looking at. So the details of that will come out as we find out what the story is, because a lot of that is what's the story about, and so a lot of that will be unlocked then. Sure, I'd love to do like like the dream job would be like taking Ivan's role on a little bit more, and whatever it is that looks like in terms of a YouTube collaboration with a production like this.
Ivan Bartok did Stargate's behind the scenes DVD bonus features.
Exactly right. And so it's one of my first questions is going to be, what does Amazon have planned for a lot of that satellite content, if any? And once we get that answer, then I think we'll know. And that will be the true north that we steer by in terms of the content that we create. So I really don't know yet.
Yeah.
I think you can take it as read that things that we've seen before in terms of production diaries and of getting to see like some of the earlier, especially after it launches, like some of the earlier test animatics and what it is that how they're leveraging AI. The things that I'm really interested in are not just from the story perspective of whatever this thing's going to be, but very much from the technical perspective of what are they leveraging that didn't exist before that they're using now, and what pieces of hardware are they taking advantage of and software that are able to pull off what is obviously going to be a very complicated production, because whatever Martin has in mind, and we've heard this from all three of them, Martin, Garrow, Brad Wright, and Joseph Malazzi, is going to take a year of post-production. And that means that whatever we're going to be witnessing is very visually intense and complicated. And I'm really looking forward to popping up that hood and looking at the engine and seeing, okay, what are they doing here? And so a lot of what it is that you and I have been doing is, I think, kind of getting ourselves ready for that opportunity where we might be worthy of creating some of that content together.
That's what it feels like. It feels like a lot of getting ready, but getting ready for we're not quite sure what yet.
Yeah. Well, it's a show, and it's going to be a show that everyone's going to get to see everywhere at once, and it's a Stargate show. But other than that, it's like, what's Santa bringing? And as we learn more, it'll be like, okay, I want to see this, and that's what you go and do. And we will ask, and if they say no, it's like, okay, then let's pivot, and we'll see how we can contribute, because we've been so blessed with getting to kind of be avatars for other people who don't get to be there, because obviously everyone can't. But with the roundtables and a lot of other features like this, we can bring more people to the table. We can widen the tent. There's, I think Zoom has a software now that it allows you to have live streams in multiple languages. For season 6, I really want to test that, because there are a lot of Stargate fans who don't speak any English whatsoever, and their voices deserve to be represented just as much as yours and mine do.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And we're going to see just how bad it
AI
is right
translation.
now. Exactly. Let's see. Let's see how the sausage is really made, and it may not be ready, but it may be, and we may go like, wow, I can understand this person. Their ideas are. Is that what they said for Go Old? I don't really know. You mean the snake things that were in people's heads? Eyes glowed, boombox voice. Because it's not going to get a lot of Stargate terms, but that technology exists now when it didn't just a few years ago. So this is kind of like the perfect time for this show to come out in a lot of ways, because a lot of disciplines have been honed. John Gadetsky came on talking about using AI on House of David, which was another Amazon production. His episode recently with us, we had to, like, the future of visual effects, I think, was the episode in season 5, and they would film actors, and then they would turn around and give that to AI, and then the AI would spit out a more grand shot from the prompt, and then they would go off and create their own visual effects. And then the studio at Amazon would take a look at the AI version and the visual effects version and decide which one that they wanted. And then they would go with that one. And if they wanted the AI one, then they would give that one to the visual effects guys, and they would clean it up even more and remove all the artifact, like people disappearing and like these really grand shots. So you got little people walking around in a lot of these ancient cities from the Middle East. So visual effects will continue to have a place and continue to exist, but it's going to exist hand in glove with the technology. And Amazon is one of the studios that's really leading the way on that. So we're finally getting to a point where it's not, oh my God, this stuff is going to kill us and we can't use any of it. It's more like, okay, we're going to leverage this technology for the industry, and we're going to continue to allow it to have job growth. And oh, by the way, if it chooses to kill us later on, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But that's what we can use it for now. And I think that Stargate is going to probably continue to take advantage of it. There's other pieces of hardware that they're planning on using that I'd never even heard of before. And you may have heard some things that I didn't, or that my ADD brain didn't pick up on. And all of this is to say that this is awesome that we're getting this now. And I cannot wait to go on this road with you and with everyone else on the next 2 years, over the course of the next 2 years.
Absolutely. Tunkayu says Farscape should have a sister channel to Dial the Gate, especially with the actor overlap. Let me just piggyback on this comment and say, I know you're not going to do this show forever. Rather than seeing you retire permanently, I would love to see someday far in the future, when the Stargate work is complete or at least ongoing, that maybe you expand your efforts to other shows that you love, because I know other shows that you love. You'd love to have some of those actors on. You'd love to talk with some of those
like
writers
doing this
and
kind of
producers.
thing for Dial the Gate, but
doing this kind of thing and just sort of widening the lens a little bit so that it's for maybe other science fiction and fantasy TV series.
My love has always been Star Trek, but a lot of those talent are really old, and a lot of them are already gone. And
that space is very full. The Star Trek space is very full. A lot of people have done versions of that content with Star Trek,
but not as thorough as I've done.
Right. That's for sure.
Those stories that I would want are in the past in convention halls and not recorded. And that's a shame. That's really what I wanted to bring to this was the Archive of American Television, but for Stargate, where you got 2 and 3 hour long conversations that would just keep on talking over the course of several episodes. And we covered everything top to bottom, from mildly interesting to, oh my God, I can't believe I heard that. And Star Trek does have a lot of it, but it's kind of all over the place. And the fact of the matter is, it's had hundreds of guest stars that I've never even heard from. And I think Will Wheaton has done that a little bit with the Ready Room. I think that Connor Trinier and Dominic Keating have done that with the Decon Chamber. So these things do exist out there, but you're talking about a show with 900 episodes, a franchise with 900, almost 1,000 shows now. And there's so many holes in there that only the Star Trek convention fan that went to these things one after the other really got.
Yeah.
And they're not preserved, and it's just too bad. But I could see doing that for Battlestar. I could see going to Ron Moore and saying, this is what I did. I would love to do that with another. I could see myself doing that before this one has really run its course. Dial the Gate is not going to end, and I was thinking that long before Stargate 4 was even really a thing. Long before, I was like, it's just going to go inert. Once I run out of things that I'm really interested in telling, or maybe a member of talent are now interested in talking, and so we'll have them on. But there was always going to be something. At most, I would have taken a break for a couple of years, but I don't plan on ending it. It'll even if this SG4 lands flat on its face. because there's always stories to be told. Because what if I've learned anything from the 5 seasons of doing this, it's because a no right now from someone does not mean it won't be a yes a few years from now. And so you have to swallow your pride, and you have to ask again. But don't be irritating. But don't be the guy at the party who doesn't ask the girl out onto the dance floor, because there is nothing worse than a missed opportunity. And I think that that's been my biggest takeaway. And so I don't plan on ending it. There's not that kind of a symmetry to it. It's an open-ended thing, and it's going to continue to evolve in its own direction. And it'll end when I'm dead. I said this, Darren. Good. I said this in episode 1. You can go back and watch it. I said this show will be my legacy. The show will be my Stargate legacy. And I kind of said that tongue in cheek then. Here it is. So I'm sorry, I'm really cold. So I'm playing with my sweat jacket.
Do what you got to do. I'm going to read a couple more comments here, and then if you got a few more minutes, I want to do a quick unboxing and let you talk about the genius of a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours. John, put your thing on. John Yulden says, one thing I've liked since the announcement is connecting with other Stargate fans. I was just sat in my own corner with friends enjoying the shows. The new series is going to be great. Glenn UK says, David, I for one am a big fan of the way you conduct yourself in interviews. Keep up the fantastic work and can't wait to see what you have cooking.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I'm so I can't say this enough how thrilled I am that we all get to see it at the same time, that we don't have to freaking torrent a Sky One episode with all of the actors talking in a little bit higher pitch because it's a PAL transfer, that we all get to see this thing at the same time. And if that means it's going to take a couple of extra months to make it regional for every territory, so that everyone can get a chance to see it and hear it in their language, or read it in their language, that they'll get to do that. So this is for all of us, and they can take as long as they want with it. I think that anything, if anything is true about these past 14 years, is that we've laid it this long. If it's going to take 16, fine.
Yeah.
But it's we know that it's coming, and that in itself is enough.
Micah John asks, didn't Children of the Gods air less than 1 year after pre-production? Why does the new series need so much more time?
Hey, Micah. I asked that question to Martin Garrow.
Yeah.
And you wanna say what he answered in that interview?
Well, fill in the blanks from what I'm not remembering, but part of what Stargate fans are going to have to adjust to over the next couple of years and moving forward as the show gets hopefully a second and a third season is the business model for streamers is just different. They're not looking to sell ads on a weekly episode and sort of fill the 9 p.m. time slot on Friday nights and sell ads against it. Their business model, although of course the streaming services like Prime Video do have ads now, the business model is built chiefly around subscribers and kind of fighting that constant churn of you unsubscribing and then resubscribing 6 months later or a year later when Prime Video has something new that you want to watch. So part of that model, for good or for ill, is streaming services have adapted to the what is essentially the old miniseries. A miniseries is around 10 episodes plus or minus. It would air for a week or sometimes 2 weeks every single night of the week. And it would often have a higher budget. So that's what we're getting from these so-called prestige streaming series these days, is fewer episodes with a higher budget because it's meant to be a spectacle. It's meant to grab attention. It's meant to cast a wide net and get a lot of people who want to come pay $6.99 or whatever it is to subscribe for as long as Amazon can hold them around to watch this show. And then hopefully a large portion of them don't unsubscribe immediately when it's over because they find something else they want to watch.
And there's something to be said for shorter content like that has a longer production cycle. You got that triad of good, cheap, and fast, and you can have any two of the three. And the ones that get it, they really get it. You look at an miniseries like Childhood's End that Sci-Fi put out a few years ago. I'd never seen anything that looks as good as that. That the visual effects in it are extraordinary. And when you give something enough time and to really digest, the impediments of like, well, we're building this thing for these ads, and we have to have those kinds of considerations in terms of marketing and everything else, I think are the big part of it. The thing that I was thinking about that Martin had said is, because when you're talking about our advances in tech, like after we got off the phone with Martin, you know, I was talking about the fact that I've shot at 1080p and it takes this much time, and now I'm shooting at 4K and it's taking this much time. I don't think that translates necessarily with what it is that Martin's doing, because I think he's either said specifically or was alluding to the fact that this story that he's going to tell is extremely complicated visually. Like, he has something in mind. He has a story that he wants to tell that's going to specifically take a lot of post-production time. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think that what he's looking at telling is going to need that much runway in order to take off the ground and be successful. So we're whatever that is, until they get really a chance to get together and budget this thing out and look at because they're looking at some of the biggest visual effects houses in the world. Then they'll have a better idea of how long it's going to take. And any of us will be sure to say, you know, after some of the projects that we've seen Stargate do, you know, both in front of the camera and in, like, for instance, like the video game space, for instance, get it right the first time, or don't do it. Because if you're not going to have it be something of quality, why? Just don't wear the IP like a skin suit. And that is really not what they're doing with this thing, whatever it's going to be.
The miniseries that I know and love, I watched V when I was a little kid in the 80s. V was originally a miniseries. Sci-Fi Channel did Dune, did Children of Dune.
Yes.
Did Taken, Steven Spielberg. Those are obviously the bigger productions that draw more eyeballs, and a lot of people. Battlestar Galactica started in 2003 as a Sci-Fi Channel miniseries.
That's right.
Rather than a traditional pilot. And
Galactica did look great. That's true.
Let's take a look here before we hit the 2-hour mark. Let's take a look at this goodie that I have sitting on my desk. And I'm going to show it here with you
take
because
your word for it. You
can't see it. I'm going to describe it to you and let you talk about the genius of Martin McLean, our buddy, SGA Gate Builder, who you can find online at gatebuilder.tech. And I'm going to show this here with you because you got the exact same thing that I got as a gift from Martin. So thank you to Martin. Thank you to Astrid. You guys are amazing. Martin, the work that you do is phenomenal. And we've showcased it here on GateWorld before many times. It's in my background. Most everything that you see in my background that is not a licensed model or another licensed product, right? The ships are licensed from Master Replicas. I've got some pop figures back there right now. The Stargate, but everything else that you see here, the DHD and the steps on the Stargate and the Naquita reactor, this stuff is all from Gate Builder, gatebuilder.tech. Let me move my light closer here. I'm going to turn this up and we're going to see what Martin has for us today. This is like this should be a regular segment. What did Martin make this time? Okay, so you guys have seen this. This is the Master Replicas Stargate. And you've seen on the channel before, Martin made this really cool textured 3D printed puddle for my Stargate. You've seen it in the back of a lot of my videos over the last several months. This is glow-in-the-dark filament that he used, which is really cool. It has a nice effect. Martin, of course, being Martin, being the perfectionist that he is, wanted something a little more screen accurate. So first, we have Ooh, we have a brand new event horizon.
Event
So
Horizon.
check this out. This is going to fit on both my Atlantis and Milky Way gates, and then the Destiny gate, which I pre-ordered, should be here soon. Master Replicas announced a delay for that. It was supposed to be here by now. It's coming in February.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
this looks cool. This looks right. Other than the fact that it's not in motion right now, it looks exactly like the show.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. No, he gave both of us one, and it's perfect.
Martin has also produced this this base stand for the Stargate, which looks really cool. I got the sandstone one, and then I think you requested the gray one, the gray stone. So he redid it and gave me this gray one here that I have, which obviously looks like an off-world planet from many episodes of Stargate SG-1. That looks fantastic. Okay, now we're cooking. Now we have a stand and we have a screen-accurate puddle. Why not just make this a diorama? So let's put this over here. And we have this is what's new from Martin this week. Fantastic 3D printed industrial case with Stargate on the front. Martin goes above and beyond and doesn't just make the goodies inside, but he makes the case. It's the presentation. He makes the instruction booklets in many times. Yeah, in many cases to go with this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to open this here and we'll see what's inside. Off-world equipment. So
He's been wanting to create that the map for a long time. That has been a goal of his for at least a year. Been wanting to
let's start
create
with the
that.
map.
And the detail. Look at the detail on this thing. I've called him a sick genius before, and I'll say it again. The work that he is willing to put in to make something just perfect, rarely have I seen anyone like that.
3D printed. There's some stickers on here. The SGC logo here in the front is a sticker. But this is all 3D printed. And the detail's phenomenal. It looks just right.
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah.
Martin's not farting these things out. Martin is a perfectionist.
No.
He is highly skilled. And I've just always incredibly impressed at what he puts out. So the fact that then he makes extras and gives them to us to put on display on our channels.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah,
so we have
great work.
The map here to scale with our Stargate. And then, of course, we got the DHC, right? We showed this off on the channel when Martin was here a few weeks ago. So if you want a closer look at Martin's DHD, and his version actually dials his Stargate with an infrared sensor, go check out the live stream that we did a month or two ago with Martin McLean, SGA Gate Builder, if you want to see that in action. But he made me a version of the DHD. So of course I get this and I'm praising it up and down and how much I love it and the paint job and the detail and these raised glyphs and how cool it all looks. And I'm like, man, wouldn't it be cool if there was one, if Master Replicas put out one that went with its Stargate? That was,
that's right.
You know, this one's big. So of course, Martin being Martin, went home and made a DHD that is to scale. Yes. More or less to scale with the Stargate.
And this is really the thing that I love, that what he is doing is demonstrating with his ingenuity and his creativity that you can create things that go along with officially licensed merchandise. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has plans for a diorama for like Stargate Command, to put that gate in. The fact that folks like Master Replicas, that's a brand that I've trusted for over 20 years, maybe 25 now. I have some of their lightsabers. I was thrilled beyond words when they got the Stargate license because they just put out quality, and Martin is creating content that just works in concert with all of those beautiful pieces, and he puts them out there and makes them available to people.
Yeah, folks are asking in the chat, of course, where can I buy this thing? Martin has, I think for most of these pieces, not everything he's ever done, but for most of them, he puts the files up so that people who have the technology can 3D print them for themselves for free. He's not selling these. He's not making money on these. You can visit his website at gatebuilder.tech, TECH. But a lot of these, the STL 3D printer files are available online. And if you, like me, don't have a 3D printer, then there are services online, right, where you can
There are.
upload a project file and have a third party do the 3D printing for you and
Yep.
send it to you. Now, of course, there's
Yeah.
lots of additional work that goes along with a piece like this. There's the sanding and the gluing and the painting, but a lot of it he's now doing multicolor 3D print jobs, which he showed us with. He's also making. He showed us prototypes of Stargate Command figures that are proportional to this guy. So we'll get little guys, little SG1 guys to go along with the gate, and those are multicolor 3D print jobs, and they look
That's
phenomenal.
right. Yeah, there are some of them out there, these third party vendors who they will 3D print and sand and paint. Your mileage is going to vary in terms of their quality, but it doesn't mean that it's out of reach if you're willing to pay a little bit for creating something. Or you you may have a hidden talent that you don't know about. For me, it's not painting, and so it's one of those things where it's like I have more than a couple of times when I've gotten replica items. It's like, okay, I can't do this part of it here. I will pay for this, please, because I want it to, be good. Because I grew up building the models from Star Trek and Star Wars and Sequest and some of these olders, and that is the gene that I did not get. So
Yeah. Well, again, a huge thanks to Martin for producing all this.
yes, sir.
The talent is astonishing. The artistry is amazing, right? Because this is a combination of art and engineering, and it's the
Yep.
sort of thing that I just can't do. And it's like wizardry to find somebody who can. It's like a musician. I understand the technicalities of how it works. People play instruments magnificently, but I don't have the patience to learn it. It feels like wizardry, the sorts of things
It's a
that he
lot of
puts together.
it's a lot of patience. The thing that, if you know anything about people who spend time in the kitchen, there are cookers and there are bakers, but there's next to no one who does both. They're fairly different skill sets. And with Martin, you've got a cook and you've got a baker. He can create this thing in a CAD file, print it, sand it, paint it, and as he goes along the way, he's taking notes as to how he did it, and he turns around and he creates legit, like, printable, like, instruction manuals with diagrams for all of it. So the dude is a package deal all in one person. And the fact of the matter is, I don't know how his I don't know how he's not on the spectrum, because he doesn't certainly seem like it to me. Like everyone that I've met who would have the ability to do that, they're savants. They that would have a hard time remembering their own frigging names. And he's such a well-rounded person as an artist and just as a human being that it's just astounding. And for that kind of person, for the amount of stuff that he is able to achieve creatively, and also just as a human being, there's next to no one like him.
I want to wrap up here, but I want to give you a chance to say anything else that you want to say to this group about what you guys are doing. Maybe a shout out to your team for what you're doing during the off season of Dial the Gate, and as you're getting ready to ramp up for season 6 next year.
I can't do this without my mods. Those folks are all amazing. I've got so many of them now. I have to look at a printed list sometimes
Right.
because there's so many people who help me pull that thing off week in and week out. Anthony Rowling has been with me from pretty much the beginning. He's a producer. I have Kevin Weaver, who's producing with me. Summer Roy, she's been helping a lot with a lot of the bookings with the guests. And Jacob Oleash, he is my lead archivist now. He's handling all the transcripts in the back end. I have some new people who are involved. Ian Bernardo, he is software. He is developing something that we hinted at on Thanksgiving Day in the United States. And I'm not going to say very much about it because it's so enormous that I think that SG4's production will find this very useful. So I'm going to keep a lid on that. But it also goes hand in hand with the new website that's coming. So Frederick Marcoux and Jennifer have been working on that, and the new one will hopefully be out before season 6 launches, and it will have some new features in it that I hope people will be swept away with. And I think that if you are a person who likes to be challenged and pushed a little bit, that you'll find yourself getting stuck on Dial the Gate and just iterating a certain task again and again. Like I want to do this again. We're trying to figure out a scoreboard kind of method, but we don't want to worry about getting anyone's personal information. So I don't know about that, and that's as vague as I'm going to be on that. So that's something that we're working on. But Ian is just extraordinary. He's a part of the team that's been doing the 1-to-1 scale Stargate out in Switzerland, and he's become a friend, and we're creating something really special together. So all the thanks to my producers. Bryce Orrs, he's doing some amazing stuff visually. He's going in and creating the Pegasus Project Stargate Atlantis VR experience. He's been working on that. We showed that off, I think, in our first roundtable that we had that one in? We previewed that, or was that the second one?
I don't know.
Okay, I can't remember, but it's out there. And yeah, so you can go to YouTube and type in IBREC. So phonetically, it's India, Bravo, Romeo, Echo, Charlie. And he's the one who did the Wormhole Extreme take on the announcement that we were in. Hilarious. Martin's involved in this? Yeah, he sold the idea to the studio. That was great. So he did that.
Good.
And then, I mean, last but not least, I really have to give a tremendous amount of thanks to Matt Wilson, Eagle SG, who has made so many of these Stargate ships fly again. And
yeah, those animations are fantastic.
His stuff is awesome, and what he's able to produce, what he did with Destiny for the Joel Goldsmith musical journey is, it's chef's kiss. I can't wait. And next he's going to make the O'Neill fly. So really looking forward to it. Yeah. That's pretty much everybody, but I know I'm missing some people. It
takes a village.
It takes a village. You can't do this alone.
Especially with all the ambitions that you have. I mean, there's a lot of projects that you guys are working on that folks don't even know about yet, that you've had a team laboring behind the scenes, in some cases for months, doing transcripts and making this stuff searchable, and some other, the timeline project, other things that haven't appeared on the channel yet. Some stuff you haven't talked about yet.
A lot of this stuff has been sitting around since season 2, and it's like, okay, it's a place that's waiting for a time, and I'm so thankful to everyone who's been reaching out to ask to want to be a part of this. Jacob's leading the transcript team. We're about halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through all the transcripts. I'm just adding them on the top of the pile that need to be transcribed. But Ian has also been working with Jacob to devise an AI that is taking the YouTube files and generating transcripts from those files and then going in and scrubbing them and removing a lot of the fillers. God knows I have most of those, and making them archivable and presentable, so that really what took 4 and 5 times the length of an interview or a special or a piece of content on Dial the Gate is now taking about 1 1/4 the amount of time to finish, because it's that accurate now. So
yeah, just in the 5 years that you've been doing this, the technology's caught up.
Yep, because we were having to manually transcribe originally, and it was taking sometimes 4 and 5 times longer, and now it's taking between 1 and 2 times the length already, closer to 1. So you can basically run it back at 90% of speed and make corrections. So if you want to be a part of that, Ian and Jacob are working together on making that software possible. And there's a bit of gamification to it as well. So if you want to help us transcribe, reach out to me at dialthegateshow@gmail.com, and we will add you to the list. And when we're ready to roll this out, we've already got a couple of extra people working on it and poking at it with a stick and making sure that it doesn't bite us. And it's let's just say it's the beginning for a few other things that they're developing. This software package that Ian has designed is getting to know Stargate very well, and you will be able to ask things of it, and it will be able to tell you. And he's building features into it to prevent it from hallucinating, that will actually allow it. It'll be secured to some kind of to something that's real, so that if it doesn't know, it's very likely to tell you that I don't have any information on that. It's not going to just make stuff up. So 2026 is going to be really cool for Stargate in my world and in yours and in everybody's.
Yeah,
and I just want to thank you, Darren, for letting me come on and just sharing. So I figured you'd be sick of my face after the week that we've had, but we had a great time in Vancouver, and I wouldn't want anyone else to go on this journey with. And I thank you for platforming me 25 years ago and giving me a place to hang out and participate and spread my creative wings, because now I'm here, and that's very much in thanks to you.
Thank you. We're having a lot of fun, and it's my great pleasure to be able to continue to support what you are doing and what the team is doing, not just because you and I have been friends for 20 years, but because I believe in the project. That's why people see clips on GateWorld. That's why we do write-ups of stuff on the website. And that's why I go to Vancouver, not just because I like to hang out with you and it's a lot of fun to sit and talk with talent, but because I believe in the project. I believe in the mission that you're doing. And it really is mission driven.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for hanging out on a GateWorld Friday live stream. And thank you for the work that you're doing. So excited for what's coming up. We're entering into a whole new space, a whole new season.
We are.
And I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm so excited that people are getting it, that it's becoming what I wanted it to be, and it has become largely what I wanted it to be. I'm so grateful that anyone is willing to sit down and have a look. So that, not the least of which the cast and crew, but very much fans are taking a look now and saying, I can sit and listen to this for a couple 3 hours, because it's time consuming. And our attention spans are TikTok length now. And that goose is really mean and flapping his wings at me over here. So I better get going. But thanks again, man, for everything.
Yeah. You take off and run if you have to. If the camera starts to shake or goes, yeah,
right.
If the camera goes out altogether, your screen goes black, I might call you and check on you in a few minutes just to make sure you're okay. But yeah, we're going to wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. Again, this is our last Friday hangout for GateWorld, but we're going to keep doing them in the new year. So Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays next week. we're going to be off. We're going to be hanging out with family. We're going to be eating good food, enjoying the vacation, enjoying time off. And then we're going to hit the ground running in January. We've been doing these live stream hangouts on Fridays every other week. And I am still working on lining up some guests for January. So I'm not ready to announce yet who's going to be joining us. But hopefully we'll be back on Friday, January 2nd, which is in 2 weeks' time. And either continuing that every other week pattern, or if I can get enough Stargate fans interested who want to come on and just hang out with me and talk Stargate with their camera turned on, we might go weekly for a while. I think I would enjoy that. But thank you all for being here. Thank you especially to our moderators who were able to be here today. Jeff at Suns and Shadows. Check out his channel on YouTube. Raj Luthra. Hellcats. Hellcats has put together the brand new GateWorld Discord. So let's give a shout out for the GateWorld Discord, which now has over 800 members on it and is growing by the day. If you are a Discord person and you like that format for chatting, look for I'll go ahead and put the Discord link in the video description as well, but it's also in chat right now from Hellcats. Check that out. Thanks, Hellcats, for doing the Discord as well as for being here moderating. Thanks to the rest of our moderating team as well, who wasn't able to be here today. Let's see. We've got January. I'm looking at my to-do list to make sure I say everything I wanted to say. Merry Christmas. Thanks also to our channel members. You guys the support that you give is invaluable. It's incredibly encouraging, as well as allowing me to continue what I do on GateWorld. And we're looking ahead. We're 2026. We're building out a team. Largely, in large part, thanks to David and the example that he's given of building a team and hiring recruits to do all these tasks. So we have been recruiting on GateWorld here for a few weeks now, and we've got a small army of people who are looking to write stuff for the website, write episode summaries, features, maybe come on camera with me. If you've got that kind of talent and you want to hang out and celebrate Stargate using your talent, then just email me at webmaster@gateworld.net. And we'd love to put you to work just like we put to work some of these guys, just like we put Hellcats to work, and now we have a Discord. So thanks to our channel members, and I'm going to do, in 2026, one of my goals is to do a scroll so that you can see our patrons at the end of every live stream. But let me call out specifically our channel members who joined at the patron level: Stargate Shorts, Brett C. Person, Scoopy Joe, ZX0, Nudist Publishing, Martin Zokor, and Benjamin Schrank. The list is growing and growing and growing, and I'm so appreciative for all of you. Thanks, guys. I think we covered everything. I think we had a good time. Thanks for hanging out with us.
So,
Merry Christmas. Thank you again to David. Merry Christmas. We had you for the magic hour here for a while. You were really golden, and now you just look cold. So
I'm pretty cold by the water here. Kevin Weaver and I are going to go to dinner, and then I'm going to push him out of a plane tomorrow. So, yeah, okay. I'll see you.
Have
really
fun
soon,
and get yourself
get
yourself home safe.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.